What really happened to Gene Okerlund is truly sad, as his drinking habits led him into serious health problems that eventually took his life. In this video, we're going to dig deeper and uncover what was really going on behind the scenes. From the moment he first stepped in front of a camera, it was clear he had a presence that could captivate audiences. Born in Minneapolis in 1942, Okerlund began his career in broadcasting, working in radio before moving to television. His natural charm, confidence, and ability to connect with people made him an ideal candidate for professional wrestling, an industry that required performers to not only act, but also to engage the audience emotionally. Early in his career, Okerlund developed a reputation as someone who could make anyone look good on camera. He understood timing, phrasing, and the subtle cues that made wrestlers' promos feel believable and exciting. In the early 1970s, Okerlund joined the American Wrestling Association, where he became the go-to interviewer for major stars. He quickly distinguished himself from other announcers by focusing on the wrestlers' personalities rather than just the storylines. He asked questions that encouraged performers to reveal motivations, frustrations, and ambitions in ways that deepened the narrative. Wrestlers appreciated this approach because it gave them a chance to showcase their character beyond the physicality of the ring. Okerlund's professionalism made him trusted by promoters and performers alike, and his work helped elevate entire shows, giving audiences reasons to tune in week after week. Okerlund's career took a significant turn in the early 1980s when he joined the World Wrestling Federation during its national expansion. At the time, the WWF was transitioning from a regional promotion to a national phenomenon, and Okerlund's ability to communicate with fans made him invaluable. He became the voice of the company, conducting interviews with top stars such as Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Roddy Piper. His calm, steady demeanor provided a balance to the exaggerated personalities of the wrestlers. While the wrestlers often played intense, emotional roles, Okerlund remained a stable presence, helping the audience focus on the story rather than the chaos. Okerlund's skill in interviews was not just about asking questions. It was about creating tension and excitement. He could guide a promo in a way that made the stakes feel higher, the rivalries feel more personal, and the outcomes feel more significant. He had a knack for knowing exactly when to let a wrestler speak, when to push for a reaction, and when to stay silent. This subtle skill made him one of the most effective interviewers in wrestling history. His segments often set the tone for major pay-per-view events and were key to building anticipation for matches. Beyond interviews, Okerlund also contributed to weekly television programs, often serving as a host or announcer for recaps, previews, and promotional segments. His presence helped maintain continuity in shows, providing viewers with a familiar voice and face that anchored the action. Fans quickly came to trust Okerlund as a guide through the wrestling world, someone who could explain storylines, hype up events, and introduce new talent in a compelling way. This made him more than just an interviewer. He became a central figure in the presentation of professional wrestling on television. One of Okerlund's most memorable contributions came during the Hulkamania era, where he conducted interviews that defined storylines and amplified the drama. His interactions with Hulk Hogan brought a sense of authenticity to the character's heroic image, and his exchanges with Macho Man Randy Savage created some of the most unforgettable promos in wrestling history. Okerlund was able to balance humor, intensity, and seriousness depending on the situation. Wrestlers often credited him with helping them reach the audience emotionally, showing them how to connect in ways that enhanced their characters and stories. His influence extended beyond the microphone. Okerlund became a mentor for younger announcers and interviewers, teaching them the importance of timing, voice control, and understanding the psychology of the audience. He demonstrated that being a professional in wrestling was not just about performing in the ring, but also about respecting the craft of storytelling and presentation. Okerlund's dedication and example helped shape a generation of broadcasters who sought to emulate his style and professionalism. Okerlund's legacy includes numerous accolades, including his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame, a recognition of his impact on the industry. He appeared in documentaries, specials, and various WWE programming, remaining relevant even as the business evolved. His charisma and professionalism ensured that he was always in demand, and his ability to adapt to changing times without losing his identity made him a beloved figure among fans and colleagues alike. Even as wrestling shifted into new eras, Okerlund remained a touchstone for excellence. His presence on camera guaranteed that storylines would feel real and that the audience would stay engaged. His work with legends of the business created moments that are still celebrated decades later. Okerlund was not just an interviewer. He was a storyteller, a mediator, and a trusted voice in a world full of chaos and spectacle. His career spanned decades, and his contributions remain an essential part of wrestling history, ensuring that his name and legacy will be remembered by fans for generations. Even though Gene Okerlund had a career that many could only dream of, his personal life was marked by struggles that were less visible to the public. For years, it was widely known in the wrestling industry that Okerlund was a heavy drinker. Colleagues often said that his drinking rarely affected his professionalism. On camera, he was always composed, sharp, and ready to deliver interviews with perfect timing. Off camera, however, the drinking was a different story. It became part of his persona later, especially on the WWE Network reality show Legends House, where it was turned into a lighthearted running joke. Behind the humor, though, there was a real pattern of alcohol use that had long-term consequences for his health. Okerlund's drinking habits contributed to ongoing health challenges, but they were not the only difficulties he faced. He suffered from polycystic kidney disease, a condition that gradually worsened over time. In order to survive, he underwent at least 2 kidney transplants. The first occurred in 1995 and helped him regain stability, but the disease continued to affect him. Nearly a decade later, he needed a second transplant, which was donated by his wife. This act highlighted the close relationship he had with his family, even as his health was fragile. These transplants were critical to extending his life, but they also reflected the serious toll that years of both lifestyle choices and medical conditions had taken on him. Okerlund's health struggles were compounded in December 2018 when he suffered a bad fall at home. The accident resulted in multiple broken ribs, and it triggered a series of complications that his body could not recover from. The fall demonstrated how vulnerable his health had become and how quickly things could take a dangerous turn. Despite his toughness and resilience, the combination of pre-existing conditions and injury created a situation from which he could not bounce back. A few days before his death, he was admitted to a nursing home for care, but when he developed trouble breathing, he was rushed to the hospital. On January 2, 2019, Gene Okerlund passed away at the age of 76, leaving behind a legacy of excellence and a story that was tinged with sadness. Even though Okerlund's personal life had its challenges, those who worked with him consistently praised his professionalism. Wrestling colleagues noted that he always arrived prepared and delivered on camera, even during periods when he struggled off camera. His ability to separate personal issues from his work allowed him to maintain the high standards that made him a trusted figure in professional wrestling. He never let his private struggles interfere with the performances that fans saw week after week. This balance between personal difficulty and professional excellence is part of what made his story so compelling. Okerlund's drinking became something that colleagues joked about later in his career, but the reality was more serious. The habit, while it did not prevent him from working, was part of a broader picture of health challenges that would eventually catch up with him. For fans watching Legends House, the jokes made his habits seem lighthearted. But for those who knew him well, it was a reminder of the personal battles he faced. Alcohol, combined with kidney disease and other medical complications, created a long-term risk that was difficult to manage. Throughout his final years, Okerlund remained surrounded by family and close friends who supported him. His wife played an especially critical role, not only as a caregiver, but also as a lifesaver, donating a kidney that helped him live for many years after his first transplant. His son later shared details about the final complications that followed his fall, explaining how the injuries and pre-existing health issues ultimately led to his death. While his passing was tragic, it also underscored the human side of a man whose public image was so polished and professional. The wrestling community mourned Okerlund's passing deeply. Tributes poured in from wrestlers, promoters, and fans, highlighting both his career achievements and his personal character. People remembered his calm, steady presence, his ability to elevate other performers, and the respect he showed everyone in the business. At the same time, they acknowledge the challenges he faced privately, reminding everyone that even legends have struggles that are invisible to the public. That wraps up today's video. Make sure to hit like and subscribe so you never miss an update.